As I mentioned in the beginning of our short videos on the book of Vayikra, a lot of the laws of our book have to do with ritual purity. Most of those laws do not have any major consequence for us today, as of course we're all considered ritually unclean, at the very least because we all had contact with dead. Practically everybody was either on a cemetery at least once in their lifetimes, or a lot of times even in the hospital there are dead bodies that anybody who is under the same roof can become unclean. The technical laws are quite complex, but generally speaking we could assume that we're all unclean, and therefore since we don't have the ashes of the para aduma, of the red cow, we don't have a way to ritually purify ourselves. So therefore we just don't do things that an unclean person is not allowed to do. The Torah commands that an unclean person cannot enter the temple and cannot eat certain types of food, karbanot, the temple offerings. So none of that we do anyway today, and therefore the fact that we're unclean doesn't really make so much difference. So when we read a lot of the laws in these parshiot, Parshat Tazria, Parshat Metzora this week, these two parshiot, they do not have any application to us today. However, the laws at the end of our parsha that talk about a woman who, during her period and after her period, those laws do apply today. I think there are actually just 3 types of laws that apply today of all of the ritual unclean laws that, as I mentioned, in our day do not have any, what's called in Aramaic, nafkamina, do not really have for us any consequence. We're unclean anyway, so therefore the fact that the person is unclean because of, let's say, sperm, or because of other touching, let's say like in the last parsha, touching a dead animal and things like that, all of that does not have any consequence for us, since we're already unclean anyhow. But the 3 laws that I think, I'm thinking that that's the main 3 laws that are still applicable to us, and that is the Kohanim, the people who are descendants of Aaron, still have to practice the laws of not going to a place where there is a dead body. That's one law of ritual cleanliness that's still applicable. So for example, a Kohen should not enter a place where, or certainly a cemetery, but also a place where there is a corpse or parts of a corpse. Second law that's still applicable today, that's a rabbinical law of washing hands correctly before eating bread, and in certain other cases. This is, by the way, maybe based on a certain verse in our parsha, in our weekly reading, when it talks about Zav that did not wash his hands in water. So Rabbi Elazar ben Arach, one of the great sages, a student of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, says that that's a hint kind of to ritual washing hands. But the law itself is a rabbinical law, the washing of the hands that we do before eating bread. And there's a whole Masechet, a whole tractate in the Mishnah. It doesn't have the Talmud, but there is a Mishnah called Yadayim that deals with these laws. And the last one that's definitely applicable to us today, and that even has the Babylonian Talmud and partially a Jerusalem Talmud as well, that's Masechet Nidah, the laws of a woman during her period and after her period. And that is, even today, we practice these laws that a husband and wife, the married couple, do not have relations at the time when she has her period or after she gives birth, certain number of days, and then she goes to the mikvah, immerses herself, and only then they can be together. So this is what I wanted to discuss a little bit, the psychological idea behind this law. And that is that, of course, the Torah doesn't tell us the reason for most laws, but this particular law, already the Talmud discusses that one of the consequences of it is that Orthodox Jewish couples have a kind of renewal every month. So they don't kind of get bored of each other. It's known psychologically that people usually like to try something else when they're too bored with what they have. So when a man and a woman have intimate relations whenever they want and as much as they want, it kind of becomes dull. They kind of get bored of each other. So that's a big problem, and that what causes a lot of times that people might think of divorce or various types of various types of cheating. A lot of times it has to do with it. Of course, it's not the only reason, and of course, that doesn't mean that Orthodox Jews never ever break any of these laws. I mean, there's Yetzer Hara, what's called the evil inclination, and every one of us, we all have temptations. But still, the fact that a man and a woman are sometimes permitted, sometimes forbidden to each other, makes it a kind of renewal, a kind of honeymoon of sorts every month. Since for about 12 days or so, the married couples don't have relations, and then they're permitted to each other again, and she goes to the mikveh, and it's a whole big deal. She washes herself well before doing it. It's a lot of times like a whole hour. She basically takes a nice bath and makes sure that she doesn't have any chatzitza. What's called chatzitza is something that can prevent the water from covering the entire body. So even her hair, she has to comb it. She has to make sure that she's totally clean and cleansed, and then she immerses in the mikveh, and then she comes back, and it's a new honeymoon for the married couple. So that's the basic idea, at least according to the Talmud. That's what the Talmud openly says. The basic idea, again, that doesn't mean that that's the only reason, but the basic idea of what we call family purity. This is the term that's now used. I don't think the Torah actually uses this term, but that's a term that would later begin to be used for what we call. I mean, obviously the Torah does have the word purity, tahara, but we call generally family purity. It's a kind of euphemism, I guess, meaning the keeping of the laws that the couple, when the woman has a period, do not have physical relations, and for the 7 days afterwards until she immerses in the mikvah. We call it laws of ritual purity, family purity, sorry. So these laws have this type of an effect, a kind of honeymoon every month. And on this I'm going to end for today. If you like this video, please press like and please subscribe to our channel.